All right, guys, one of the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and lay this out. Like I said, this is a 1/2 inch thick by 2.5 inch wide. So we're going to try to make it square. So we're going to go 2.5 by 2.5, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to lay it out. I like these little squares here, or little angle finders. I got this one at Harbor Freight, I think. We got it set on 90 degrees. Close enough. It don't really matter on the size. So this is the wire clamp. Then I'm going to show you how we're going to lay it out. Because what we're going to have, as you can start to see, the clamp's going to have the little C part of the clamp here, and you're going to have your little pads to where the screw runs up through to where it actually does the clamping. All right, guys, now we're going to lay out our 1/2 inch pad we was talking about, and I'm going to just give us a real quick check because that's a 1/2 inch, and I took our hole saw apart. We're going to put it here. We just want to make sure that basically this hole saw is a 1/2 inch away also from that line, so we got a good clamping area. So that right there is a 1/2 inch. So that's about how the layout's going to be. So we're going to go ahead and mark a 1/2 inch down through here for our pad. All right, we'll get this, and we'll mark this with a P on here for our pad. That's what we're going to call this. Let's get it right up to the edge of our marks. All right, this is going to be our pads here. All right, now to find the center down, this is 2.5 inches wide, so 1.25 inches. Need to clean that Sharpie all over everything. 1.25 inches will be your center down through here. And what we're going to do, we're going to put this hole saw right up against the edge of that. And that's going to be good. That's going to give us a good squared off pad that we can land on and tighten up to. And it's going to give enough on the back side, I think, for strength. So we'll get this laid out real quick right here, and we'll drill this hole. All right, now guys, we're going to take our spring-loaded center punch. I love these things. Like I said, I'll link this stuff in the description below if you ever use these. These things are so nice. All right, we got that hole, so now I'm going to put my 1.75 inch or 44 millimeter hole saw back together. And we're going to go over here and slowly try to cut through this 1/2 inch plate. This, you probably need one of like the rotor broach type hole saws for this, but we're going to try it with this. We're just going to go slow and keep it oiled up, give it some rapid tap, and keep everything cool. Like I said, we'll get this cut and then we'll do the rest. I suggest buying one of these little drill vices. These are nice to have, especially work something this thick. That way you got to hold on. Cause be careful with this. This thing can grab, and it can hurt you pretty bad. So if you can find one of these old, this is the old vintage one Dad and I found. But see if you can find one. I'm sure there's some on. We'll check Amazon. Maybe I'll link you one on here. We'll get this good and level and square as we can. Alright, we got that locked down. We got our rapid tap. I just got these bottles here off of Amazon. I just bought a big bottle of rapid tap, but you want to keep this stuff on there pretty good. Just put a little dab right here. that didn't take near as long as I thought it would. So we can knock that plug out. We can use this plug for something else. You may see it in an upcoming video for something. So I can knock it out with my pocket knife. Look at that. I bet that's a little warm. I'll leave that be, but yeah, I'll save your plugs and stuff like this. Man, we can probably, you know, tell them what we can make out of that. Check that out. Good clean cut. That's a Lennox. I like those Lennox hole saws. Those are pretty good. They seem to do pretty well. Well, we may have to do a little redesign here. As you remember, I laid it out for this to be the pads here. Well, after I drilled through it, this is getting pretty thin right here. It's maybe 3/16. Yeah, 3/16 exactly. So I think we're going to have to change this around a little bit. So no biggie. I think what we're going to do, instead of having the pad on this side, because I'd rather have this little bit of extra beef back here, I think we're going to make the pad on this side because we're going to cut all this out anyway. So I'm just going to show you how to adapt and overcome when you mess up, because I do that a lot. But anyway, I think that's going to work pretty good right there. We'll come in here and cut this off. This will be our good backbone, because that's where you're going to have your spread, and is up here on your backbone. This area being thin out here don't matter, so maybe it worked out to the good for us. So we'll lay this out like this and just cut it like that. I think that'll work. So we'll go ahead and run this through I'll show you over here on my Milwaukee Portaband table. We'll just whack this off and get to going on the other. Man, that old Portaband does a good job. If you want to see how I built that table right there, I got a video I'll link up here in the description for you to go check out, and I'll show you how I built this out of just some scrap. But man, we use this tool every day. If you don't have one of these, you need one. It works great. Well, that's the start of our little piece here. So now she's gonna get the pieces here cut out, and we're gonna drill and tap this for that. All right, I'm gonna wipe these lines off with a little lacquer thinner, get them Sharpie marks off so we don't get confused and I mess up again. But I think it done okay. I think it's gonna end up being where I wanted it anyway. But I should have moved it over a little bit, but you know how that goes. So what we're basically gonna do is, this thing's a 1/2 inch wide, so we're gonna come up as high as we can up on this to where the 1/2 inch meets. And I measured it off camera just a second ago. And basically I need to come up a 1/2 inch on here and cut, and a 1/2 inch from here. So we'll mark those out real quick. Got that, come over here. Basically to where it really starts to go away. We can mark this and we can look at it. Just because it's marked don't mean we can't move it up just a hair if we want to. Now we got a line. See how that looks. Tell you what, I think I'm gonna fatten this line up and just cut on the other side of the line and just make it just a tick taller. So we'll just do it like a Sharpie width one more and we'll cut that. We'll call that. And we'll do us a little mark like this so we know which side of the line to cut on. We'll get that cut out. Alright, we're going to use a regular old flat file here, and we're going to try to square these up a little bit. Alright, now we got to drill and tap the bottom here for our little adjuster bolt. goes up through here, and we're getting pretty close. So we're gonna try to find dead center as we can here, because we don't have a lot of area to mess with. Because it's 5/16 when you drill and tap it. You drill with a 1/4 inch drill that, and then it gets the 5/16 tap to run through it. So there's not a whole lot of wiggle room. And when you're doing this, if you don't have a drill press, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time on making sure this thing goes in here square, because it's not real crucial, but it'd be nice to have that thing just come dead center. So we're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna lay it down here and knock a center punch and drill and tap this bad boy. So here we go. All right. Should be pretty close. We're going to check it again. That's 1/4 inch of that center. 1/4 inch of that center. So we're going to dot punch this bad boy. Alright guys, for those of y'all that's never used the drill index box, these are nice to have. You can put all your really good drill bits in here, or your drills, or a machinist corrects me. These are drills. But you keep them all in order, keep your good stuff in here. And the neat thing is, a lot of these, I don't know how good you can see it, has this drill and tap size. So if you're going to drill a hole and thread it and stuff, it gives you the correct size. So we're doing a 5/16 bolt with 18 threads, which is a national course thread. So it's 18 threads per inch. You need a 1/4 inch drill, and then you'll just tap it with a 5/16 18. So we're going to drill this 1/4 inch first, and we'll run the 5/16 tap down through it, and we should be ready. So we're going to go down through here. Neat thing is, everything's nice and organized. Come down through here. Come over here to the 1/4 inch. And let's drill it. I'm going to put my 1/4 inch drill in. Alright, now we're going to run our vise clamp. This thing's nice because it keeps everything good and pretty level. Good. We'll get her a chamfer real quick and knock that off, and we'll put some threads in her. We'll do us a little chamfer just to knock the... What we're going to do is get this good and level and clamp down pretty decent. Put a little rapid tap on the threads here, the tap around here. Try to get it started best you can with that hole drilled. It about starts true, but get it started as best you can. Just look at it, make sure we looks pretty close. You just run her down a little bit and back it up. Run her down, and it just backs the shavings out for you when you back it up like that. I like to do about 1/4 of a turn. You'll feel it get tight, you just don't want to chance it. Like there, that's 1/4, and then back it off about 1.5 turns. That'll clean it out. Probably getting pretty close to the bottom now. Oh yeah, I think we're through. All right, now as for the handle here, we got to drill a hole. This is probably some of the harder parts here because we're going to have to drill like an 1/8 inch hole through the side here, and all I'm using is a nail. And I'm going to leave this end right here, and we're going to cut this end off, and we're going to run it through, and we'll just squish that end to where it won't come out. So you got your little adjustable turny thingamajigger. You got to drill a hole here for this. It's going to be, I'll tell you the size, about an 1/8 inch. And then we're going to have to drill a hole. These are the hard ones. You need to drill a hole in here. So after we put our little swivel thing on, we can brad it over so it'll spin as we go up and tighten it. Just like a regular C-clamp has. We're going to try to mimic something similar to this. You could just leave it flat if you wanted to, if you didn't want to go through this step, because this is going to be a little time consuming to make something that'll do this, but we're going to try it anyway. Yeah, I think we got fairly close. But this here's the cool thing about having this this little drill press vise here. It's got a little V in it right here. When we go to do ours, like when we're going to drill in the end down here, it'll keep it good and parallel right there. It'll lock it in. But what we're going to do is we're going to run this on the side for right now. Alright guys, got our hole drilled up here in the top and got our nail. That's going to work good right there. It'll slide back and forth and you can tighten it. And like I said, we're just going to lob this end off where the point is and just kind of swedge it out where it won't come off. Alright guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat the end of this up, and we're just going to hammer like a flat on the end of it. So we're just going to heat the bare end up and hit it on the anvil. You'll see it down here. We're just going to use this regular old MAP gas like you use for soldering or for like plumbing work and stuff. You can get it at the big box store. So. I think it worked. Work like a top. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll this nut here. This is going to be our little piece that goes up against it. I'm going to roll it down probably about a half inch. We're going to take probably a 1/2 inch of these threads off so this nut basically floats up here above it, but it can't go below it. And we're going to just grind these back, and then I'll just take and swell this end out where I drilled the hole and just basically do like we did here, just swell it where this nut can't come off, but it'll just kind of float right in this area right here. So we're going to give that a try anyway. Alright guys, now I'm going to take the 1/2 inch solid rod. We're going to drill a 15/64 hole, which is about 2 steps smaller than the 5/16. And that way that we can taper this down just a little bit more, and that way that little piece will just spin on it. It'll be too small to actually catch the threads, because if we were to put this 5/16 up there, it'll float now. We can brad it, it won't come off. But if you get up there and touch to it, it's going to start the threads and it'll just run down. And that's not what you want. So we just want this little thing to float just like a regular old C-clamp does. So I dropped down 2 steps on it to a 15/64. Let's bore the center of this right here and cut it off about a 1/2 inch long and put her on there. It's getting pretty close. I'm gonna go just grind this up real quick by hand and get it a little smoother around the edges, and I think she'll be about ready to brad. Alright guys, I'm pretty stoked with that. Check that out. Got some good lines, got her squared up real nice, hole and stuff. I'm going to file that off. I got a little burr right here where I tapped it, and we're going to run it up here and try to brad that thing over. That's the most challenging part of this, and maybe you guys have got a better idea of how to make that, or you really don't need it. It's, you know, I was just trying to make it close to like a regular C-clamp, but I'm going to come in here with some little cheap Harbor Freight stamps and just do my initials on it, and initials one side, date the other. Make sure you mark your stuff so nobody else takes credit for it. But yeah, let's get this, what do y'all think? Satin black or leave it? I think I'm gonna paint it. I think it'd look better painted. Let's paint it. We're gonna use some SEM trim black, rattle can, then brad it on. Call it a day. All right, we're just gonna put a big old C-clamp on the back side and try to hold it in place. Roll this one down. Well guys, it turned out great, but like most stuff, it didn't turn out perfect. My little swivel thing, Brad, it just won't. I'm gonna have to redo that. I guess I'm gonna have to do it on a lathe where I can cut it and stuff and get it to where to swivel good. But I mean, it's fine. The only time you need this really to swivel is if you tighten it up. You know, it'll cause the clamp to move. This is just like something cool just to make for a tool, and you can, like I said, it'll clamp. Let's see, we'll run her up here. I may have to file her off a little flush because I braided it down. It's not going to fall off like the little piece is not going to fall, and it's going to clamp just fine. But you can see here, it's going to work great. I mean, it's a C-clamp. It lands like it's just supposed to. Like I said, this thing here just didn't swivel right, so I think I'm going to file this flat. We're going to go out here and paint this unit, and she's going to be done. I'm still proud of this. I think it turned out killer. Gonna make you one of these, and it's going to clamp fine. I do wish my swivel would have worked. Maybe we'll do version 2.0. Drop down in the comments what you think would work good for this. I've watched some other guys make them, and they put ball bearings in there and brad them out and squeeze them, but hey, that'll work. That's a C-clamp. Pretty tight one, too. Hadn't even clamped anything with it yet. So, she works. So we're gonna file this real quick, go out there and get some trim black throat on this unit. First I gotta stamp my initials in it and make her official. All right. Like I said, we just used the old Harbor Freight stuff. El Cheapos. Here we go. Get the A. I'm gonna do up this top corner up here. AC 23. First video of 23. Alright guys, got her all taped up. We're gonna spray her real quick with this trim black. Probably have to put 2 or 3 light coats on this trim black, and it does a great job, but it's got a really good satin sheen to it, but it'll run on you in a hot minute if you don't watch it. Get what we see and let this flash. We'll be right back. All right, guys, hope y'all enjoyed today's video on building this cool little miniature C-clamp. Make sure you go out there and try to build some yourself. Pretty fun, couple little setbacks, but hey, that's building stuff. And remember, be kind to one another. Jesus loves you, so do we. God bless. We go.